video. So hello everyone. I am excited to be talking to you about haters and what to do with it, what to do with them, and how to not let it, how to deal with haters and not let negativity affect you or your business. Because sometimes, we can get trapped in this negativity and it can spiral out of control. We want to stay focused on what the goal is, on what the outcome we want is, and not get swayed by these haters. Because sometimes for some people, maybe not everybody, but for some of you, it can really affect you when people make negative comments or things like that. And anyway, I just want to say hi. I'm glad you're here with me today. Post in the comments. If you are here with us live, you can do hashtag live. And if you're here watching the replay, you can do hashtag replay. And if you're on YouTube, please also like and subscribe. I'm going to be, I do these lives in my Facebook group, the Business Growth Blueprint, high ticket services that sell, every Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. And then we post it onto YouTube later. So if you want to come and see it live and ask questions and comment and things like that, then come on in the group. And there's tons of valuable information in this group that can help you bundle your value, that can help you get the right people finding you, calling you, and paying you anywhere from 3,000 to 10,000 once you know how to bundle your value around your service. And that typically goes with almost any service out there. So if you're not sure about how to do that, come and join us in the group. And I'm always doing and posting really valuable information on how to be able to do that, how to automate your systems, how to enroll people into what you're offering, how to communicate the value effectively around what you're offering, and just get the right people reaching out to you. Because if they're not reaching out to you, if your message isn't resonating with people and they're not reaching out to you, you can't get sales. And if you don't get sales, then what's the point, right? We're in business to make money so that we can have that time and money freedom to impact more people, especially if you're in that service industry. So with that being said, let's dive right in. If you're trying to do something wonderful, okay, somebody's bound to get offended by what you say on social media, okay? And with the internet nowadays, it's just so easy to leave a nasty comment or review and get away with it. There's really no consequence, right? But really, most of the time, the bashing has nothing to do with you or what you're offering. Okay. It could be a random person hating you online, or a disgruntled client, or a competitor who's trash talking you. It could be anything. But just know this: if you can get through life without taking things personally, it is a superpower. It's a superpower because it's hard sometimes. It's hard to not take things personally. And this is what we're going to be talking about today. So let's make this part of our mantra. What you think of me is none of my business. Okay. What you think of me is none of my business. So if you're thinking from that standpoint, it's going to be harder to let these negative comments affect you, and veer you off track. So if you allow this negativity from others to stop you, it will be as if you're walking around with a dark cloud of judgment that could block your view of your goals, basically. And that's not what we want to happen. Okay, what we want is to learn to accept the haters, because they're like, haters are bound to happen no matter what. Okay, no matter what you do or what you say, they will be there. I see it all the time. My intentions are very pure. I really care. I really love my clients. I love people. I really care. Okay. And I do my best to be of service for others, but I still get people kind of contorting my message sometimes and leaving negative things. And sometimes I, reach out and kind of correct them. And sometimes I don't. It just depends how much time or energy I have, or if I even want to bother. Sometimes I just delete it. But anyway, I really do genuinely care. And still people come out of the woodworks just to make comments. So anyway, freedom will come when you realize that it has nothing to do with you, but has everything to do with what's happening in their own life. Okay. So the first thing that I want you to remember is haters are inevitable. Okay. Haters are inevitable. I'm just going to say that again. So, anyway, and I'm just kind of distracted because I'm thinking this is not going to connect with the event because I couldn't, for whatever reason, find it. I went to my usual spot in the Facebook group to click on there and didn't show up. So I don't know. Hopefully you guys are seeing this. Say hello if you're here in the comments. Say hello. And if not, I mean, it's not showing anything for me on Facebook. So I've got it open. It looks like it's playing, but I don't know. If you can say hello in the comments and just let me know that you're here, that would be great. So anyway, sorry, I just got a little sidetracked, a little distracted. So back to the thing. The first thing I want you to remember, haters are inevitable. And you know, the awesome and terrible thing about the internet is that everybody has a voice. It's very cool that everybody has a voice. And it's kind of terrible that everybody has a voice too. So as long as you use that voice for good and you're able to, like, you're being true to yourself, you have no control how others are going to react to your message, right? So don't let your haters stop you from communicating the awesome value of your thoughts and what you're out there trying to do, because somebody is really waiting to hear what you have to say. Most people probably are. Okay. Most people really want to hear what you have to say. Most people are probably out there praying for someone like you to help them, because the people that I speak to are typically experts. They're service providers. They're people that are genuinely care and want to help others. Okay. And I know this because, I mean, I believe that what you resonate out, what you project, you get back to you too. So this is what I'm all about. So I know that most of the people that I land with genuinely do care. They genuinely are amazing people, and they're out there making a difference in the world and trying to make an impact in the world. So don't let your haters stop you from communicating that awesome value that you have, because there's other people. Most people are really wanting to hear what you have to say. Okay, just keep that in mind. So understand that as you go big in life, right, you're not hiding behind things. You're out there, you're talking, you're sharing with what you believe in, your purpose probably, right? There will definitely be people who will get offended by what you do. Just inevitable. But there will always be people that you'll impact in a powerful way. And if you care so much about what the haters are saying, then that is going to stop you from doing what you were meant to do and sharing your gift. You have a valuable gift. All of us do. So whatever that is. So it would just be a waste of opportunity if you were to let them stop you from doing that. So do not waste your talent. Focus instead on being the best version of you. Don't strive to be liked by others or to please them, because you'll just go crazy. Just control what you can control, right? It's not possible to satisfy or please everyone. It just isn't. And this kind of goes with not even just in social media, but in life in general. So just focus on serving your clients in a way and serving your prospects in a way that's aligned with who you are and what your values are and what your beliefs are. Okay. Don't be going around with repressed fears or guilt, because some people are going to sense that you have that, right? And that they'd want to take advantage of that. So do not give them something to latch onto, because as I said, there will come that, like, they'll come and they're good. It's just inevitable. They're going to be there. You just don't want to be coming across that way. Again, what you resonate out comes back to you. So don't let any fear or guilt or anything stop you, or what someone else said, or all those negative thoughts in your head that might be creeping up. Oh, who am I? I call it the Eeyore syndrome. Who am I? Who's going to listen to me? Right. But I'm sure you have valuable gifts, and a lot of people are going to want to hear it. But anyway, if they don't sense that fear or that guilt in you, they'll be less likely to stick around. They'll go somewhere else and prey on somebody else, right? So that takes us to number 2. Okay. The second thing I want you to understand is everyone is projecting. They're projecting what's actually going on inside of them. And hold on, I'm going to get a sip of water. Excuse me. So what that means is what we see in the world, or how we see the world, tends to be a reflection of what's going on in our heads or in our, in our environment, right? What happens is that some are not strong enough to acknowledge that negativity in them, like the guilt that I was talking about earlier. Sorry, I'm losing my voice a little bit. It's just too much that you can't even look at it. So you bury it deep inside. But when the opportunity arises, it comes out and then it gets thrown out towards somebody else. Make sense? So you see this constantly online. I see it all the time, or just in society in general, right? You see people rushing around in their cars and honking and stuff like that. There's a lot of stress going on, but someone who is just kind of going through life, no stress, no whatever, they're going to be taking their time, enjoying the journey, right? It's just how it works. So there's people who seem to have a constant need to bring somebody else down or to make others feel inferior compared to them. So if I'm that person, for example, and I have anger so dark and deep within me that I can't even acknowledge its presence because it's too painful, then as I'm browsing on Facebook and I see your ad or I see your post or something and it triggers my anger, so then I'll start projecting it on you and I'll write all this nasty comments or whatever, right? I don't do that, but I'm just saying, like, I'm just taking it, I'm just imagining, right? But the thing is like, my comments didn't really have anything to do with what was on your ad or what was on your post or anything like that, right? It's all about what's going on in my life, and maybe it's going to relieve some sort of tension or something by doing that, right? And the thing is even though my comment didn't really have anything to do with you or what you're saying or whatever, it was just like a triggered reaction in me because of all that darkness that I have like been living with for so long, possibly, right? So you just happened to show up in my news feed that day and at that very moment, and I just projected all that anger that I wanted to get rid of on you, because it doesn't feel good to have anger inside of us, right? We got to get it up and out. And so sometimes that happens, right? So much of what you see online, that anger, that bitterness, and that jealousy are mere projections from people who were not able to process those emotions, and they've just been carrying it around. So it's just a huge relief to know that that's what it is, right? And just not take whatever negativity is thrown at you personally, because you don't know what's going on in that person's life. Okay. The emotional stress, right, of some people have been amplified over the past years too. And as they've continued to live online, but not in the real world. And this is why social media can become toxic if you go on it too often. In real life, people are trying their best to like keep it all together most of the time, right? But then they go online and they gain this freedom to just say anything, no holding back, and so they turn into these keyboard warriors, and there's just no immediate consequences presented when you go around bashing people on the internet, right? As compared to doing it face to face. Like if you do it face to face, they might punch you out or something, right? But if you're online, how are they going to find you? How are they going to, what are they going to say? And you can just delete or ignore their message if they do respond, right? Or if they comment or whatever back. So anyway, most people I know won't even dare to curse in person, right? But when you're online, it can be so easy to just type those words in and not really care. It's as if, civility gets thrown out the window for the moment and people just get in front of their computer. So those are the first two things I want you to really remember when dealing with haters. It's inevitable, number one, and then like to number two is that they're usually just projecting whatever's going on in their life to try and get rid of whatever they're going through. Okay, makes sense? You following me so far? Let me just check the comments here and see. Oh, good. Hi, Penny. Okay, awesome. I'm glad that you can see me and hear me. Thanks for saying hello. So I know it's working. I can't, because it's not working on my end. I can't see anything except for I saw your comment. So that's a good thing. So anyway, the third thing, let's move into the third thing to understand is that everyone is operating from a positive intention. Okay. I really believe this. I really believe that people aren't doing it to be malice. People aren't doing it to be terrible. I really think that again, it kind of goes back to everybody sees things from their own perspective, right? And I believe that most people are positive, they have positive intentions, they're good people. They just have different opinions, right? So this is no matter how weird their behavior might be. You might think this runs contrary to what I just talked about, but just bear with me for a second, okay? I believe that people are always trying their best to do something good in the world according to their own definition of what good is, okay? So that could mean that, for example, my definition of good is to keep people from being exposed to deceptive coaches. Okay, this is a good example. Because there's a lot of coaches out there that are just starting out and they've gotten really good at marketing, they've gotten really good at sales, but might not be the best coach. They don't have the experience, they haven't been doing it long enough, they don't have like a really proven system that helps a lot of people, but they might be good at sales, okay, and the price might be just right or something like that, right? And they catch people at the right time. So that can be the motivation for speaking out against any coach that I run into online, right? It would be so freeing to know that no matter how cruel or destructive another person's words are, we just have to realize that they are just trying their best to get by with what they have at the present moment, right? So this could mean that that she has a limited understanding of what a career coach is, let's say, and you just happen to be one. So she says that you're just out there to scam college students. I actually get this one a lot. I get a lot of people like, oh, scammer, in the comments of things, and it's like, come on. But anyway, it's they're maybe they've been scammed, right? Projecting, or maybe they know someone that's been scammed or whatever, right? They're just there's pessimists and optimists too. So anyway, there's a lot of reasons why. But anyway, so let's say she's got a limited understanding of what a career coach is, what a career coach does, and you just happen to be one. So the hater says that you're just out to scam college students. So, because maybe they've been scammed by somebody else or what have you, right? So cut people some slack and just know that whatever they're doing or saying, they're operating from whatever limited resource they have. So they're just trying their best, even if like what they says, or sorry, what they what they say or what they do turns out to be a mistake. Okay, it's not true. So whatever people are doing, it seems like a good idea at the time. I have another good example too. So I had a comment on one of my posts saying that all coaches charge too much, all of them. And it was so interesting, and it caused a really big discussion on the thread, I commented too. This was one that I took on because I was just like, well, that's really just a limiting belief, right? Like if you hire a coach and let's say they charge $10,000, but they help you make hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Because that happens all the time. Is it really too much, right? If you make hundreds of thousands of dollars over and over and over again, or millions of dollars, like I know a coach out there that charges $12,000 and people get their money back within months, right? So, it depends. It just depends, right? I mean, if you spend $1,000 and you don't get anything from it, then, and you don't make your $1,000 back, then that's too much, But if you're spending $12,000 and you make $100,000, how is that too much, right? It's just a little shift in thinking. But I believe like people have some limiting beliefs, or I feel like that person maybe had some money issues, like a bad relationship with money, perhaps. Maybe she was programmed growing up by her family that, money doesn't grow on trees and you're greedy if you make money, and all those limiting beliefs that can be pre-programmed into us as kids growing up. And then we have all these money blocks and bad relationship with money, and money is just energy. Money's just an exchange, and that's what our society runs on. It just like keeps everything going, right? So it's like the sky is blue for me, like it doesn't mean anything. But anyway, whatever people are doing, and projecting and saying, like, it seems like a good idea at the time, even for that girl, like she was saying all coaches charge too much. For her, that's her belief, that's where she's coming from. And I see that as like still coming from a positive place, because that's been her experience, and she's trying to protect people is what I made it mean, right? So once you come to terms with this fact, okay, that you're able to forgive others, because after all, we all make mistakes too. Let's just hope we learn from them, but we all make mistakes. If we're learning, if we're growing, mistakes are made, and it's no big deal. So you can also forgive yourself from the mistakes that you've committed, and that you can basically unburden yourself in that way. Make sense? So when somebody comes to you saying that you're a failure, or you're a cheater, or you're a scammer, or you just don't have to be bothered by that, because even if you're committed, like even if you have committed some mistakes before, right, you've already forgiven yourself and you've moved on, and you're not going to do it again or whatever, right? Not saying that you're a cheater and a scammer or a failure or any of that stuff, but whatever it is, whatever those mistakes are, and if somebody says it, maybe you have done it, maybe you haven't, I don't know, but you probably won't do it again, right? Because it didn't serve you. So you move on. Okay, you just have to move on to a better version of yourself. So that baggage is long gone. I'll give you another good example. Okay, this is what comes up for me just right now, is when I was first starting out with Quiznos subs, right? I had experience in restaurants, a lot of experience in restaurants, but I didn't have a lot of experience as a manager. And I was hired to turn these stores around, because there were a few that weren't operating properly. And because of my restaurant background, I was hired to go through the systems and make sure that everything was being followed properly, so that it would start succeeding, so it would turn around. But I didn't have a lot of management experience at the time. And I remember an employee that I had to fire because they weren't following the system. They weren't doing what they were supposed to do. They said to me, "You are the worst manager I've ever had in my entire life." And I was like, oh, it kind of stung right at the moment. But instead of like letting it stop me and keeping moving on, it's like I just acknowledge, look, I'm probably not the best manager, and I'm working at being better. And I just wanted to be the best, and that was my intention, and I did my best with what I knew at the time. And I just, from that moment forward, just got better. I just got better, and I forgave myself. I forgave that person. Because from their perspective, I probably was, otherwise I wouldn't have said it, right? But anyway, I didn't know what I didn't know at the time, and I just learned and got better and better and better, and that's it. It was a mistake. I forgive myself, then we move on, right? So, and we can do this with parenting too. I think that would be a good thing, because again, as parents, we're probably doing the best that we can with what we know, right? So just keep on being a better version of yourself, and let it go. So don't focus on your own faults, because if you do, you'll begin to think like the whole world is focused on that too. Just let it go. Just keep in mind that your dominant emotion matters, because you start to see things accordingly. Okay, so what you focus on, you get more of, whether it's positive or negative. And this means that if your dominant emotion is anger, you'll constantly find something to be angry about. You'll be collecting evidence, I call it, right, to support that story. And if it's guilt, you'll always be feeling guilty over the slightest slip up, right? So imagine if your emotional home is gratitude. Okay, that's your like main thing. Gratitude, appreciation. You'll always be grateful for whatever comes up into your life, and you'll regularly attract more of that. You'll attract things to be grateful for as well, because you're always looking for that. That attitude of gratitude. That, I do aspects of appreciation every morning when I wake up. It's like it's how I start my day, and it really attracts more of that. So a big part of what I help my clients with is to feel good about what they're doing all the time. Okay, I had a meeting yesterday with one of my clients, and she was just, starting to again get in her head and think, oh, she was underpricing. She was like trying to make her price cheaper. She's like, well, maybe because we've talked about it, 3,000 to 10,000. That's the range, right? Her clients, her ideal clients, and what she does is worth at least $3,000. And yesterday she was starting to kind of revert back. She's like, well, maybe 997. I was like, no, 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 no. Like, let's talk about this value here that you're offering. Like, it's amazing, right? And she's literally saving people's lives, right? So anyway, because when you live in positivity, when you can recognize, when you can feel good about what you're doing all the time, it's just going to attract more and more of that. But then when you start focusing on the things like, oh, can I do this? And who am I to do this? And all this stuff, then it starts spiraling. So when you live in that positivity most of the time, then you begin to attract more things to feel good about. Okay. And this has to do with everything to be successful. Okay. You have to do this to be successful, to have a successful business, because who you are and who you hold yourself out to be for others is the very foundation of your business. Okay. So let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is, the last thing to remember when you're dealing with haters, and that's learn to let things go. Okay, I mentioned it just earlier. Just learn to let things go. What should you do when you begin to feel these like negative emotions like fear or doubt or anger? Go ahead and welcome them, actually. Is that the opposite of what you thought I was going to say? Welcome those feelings, because what we resist persists. So welcome it, not for too long, but just welcome it. If you're scared, oh, I'm feeling scared, acknowledge it. Oh, I don't know if I can do this, acknowledge it, right? Oh, it makes me so angry, I'm so frustrated, acknowledge it. But then you got to let it go, okay? Growing up, we somehow learned and labeled these emotions as bad. And so we suppress them or project them onto other people. But the proper thing, or the thing that works best to do, is to acknowledge those feelings and then just take them in and just sit with it for a little bit of time. Just maybe even set a timer, right? I'm going to sit with it for 15 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever it is. Sit with it for the day. Tomorrow's a new day, whatever, however long you need to process it, or like you really need to sit with it. Like last boyfriend I broke up with, I was really sad. And I said, you know what, I'm going to give myself the day to be really, really, really sad and do everything to be sad on that day. And then just, made the decision that tomorrow it's the new day. I'm going to wake up and we're not going to be sad anymore. We're just, well, not anymore, but I'm just going to not focus on it. Right. But I let it really sink in for the day, and just was sad. And then the next day, that was it. I was like, okay, what's next? Let's go. Right. What else can I focus on? What am I going to focus on now that I'm not focusing on being sad anymore? Okay, makes sense. I mean, of course, I still was a little bit, but it was like, I'm not going to focus on it. And it went away quite quickly because I wasn't focused on it. I focused on other things that made me feel better. So emotions are just signals from your brain that something isn't quite right. So if you just stop and think about it for a minute, and then it eventually just dies down. Okay, so when you practice emotional management, you begin to see that the outbursts are less and less. So as I said earlier, the haters will latch into or onto whatever feelings you have bottled up inside, and they feed on it. Okay, so therefore, the lesser emotional baggage that you carry around, the better your response will be when you receive negative comments from others. I like to say, I'm practicing detachment. Look up detachment, what detachment means. Okay, I practice detachment. Okay. Doesn't mean I don't care. Doesn't mean I don't love. I love, 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 love. But being detached just keeps me level in order for me to be my best self so I can serve others. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. But accept those emotions. Don't label them as wrong. Okay. Emotions are emotions. It just is what it is. And that's it. I mean, you see this all the time with children, how 1 minute they're laughing and playing, and the next moment they're throwing an absolute fit, right? Have you seen that? So they've not learned how to suppress their emotions yet. They're fully self-expressed. So they just express what they feel 100%. But after that moment, then they get back into their old self again, laughing and giggling. But they release it, they let it go, right? They accept it, they go through it, and then done, right? And this proves that once that emotion finds an outlet, then it's over and done with. Does that make sense? So hopefully that makes sense. And type in the comments if you're still with me. That makes sense. And if you have any questions or anything, I'd be happy to answer them. So let's just do a quick recap of what we talked about today. Remember these 4 things, okay? When you're dealing with haters and negative comments and all that stuff, negative comments online, negative comments wherever, right? Number 1, having them is inevitable. We're surrounded by people, okay? Unless you're living under a rock, it's going to happen, inevitable. Number 2, everyone's just projecting what's going on in their life, what's going on in their heads, what's going on in their environment, how they're seeing the world, right? Number 3 is that everybody acts from a positive intention. Okay, they mean well most of the time. Okay, they're not evil people. They're just they see what they see. They're probably trying to protect somebody else or whatever, right? And they're just, again, projecting, but their intentions are probably mean well. And then 4 is just learn to welcome those emotions, sit with them briefly, and then let it go. Let it go. That's the song. Let it go. Anyway, I'm not the best singer. So if you need further help in getting past those emotional roadblocks, because they're there, we've got lots of different exercises to build like bulletproof mindset and all kinds of stuff. But if you need some more help getting past those emotional roadblocks, then type in the comment emo, and I or someone from my team would get back to you with a DM on how we can point you in the right direction for next step, maybe get you on the call and, you know, go through whatever is happening, what's working, what's not working, and best strategy to get you to where you want to go, whether it's out of this or into something else, whatever it is. All right. So I am here every Thursday, 3 p.m. in the Business Growth Blueprint High Ticket Services That Sell group on Facebook, 3 p.m. Pacific time on Thursdays. We've got all kinds of different topics. And if you want to get in the group and get more information and more amazing, valuable, videos, content, stuff like that, that will help you to either bundle your value, learn how to charge more, learn how to feel worth making that kind of money or charging that type of kind of price between 3,000 and 10,000, selling, marketing, automation, all that good stuff. Then come and join the group. Okay. So I will see you next Thursday. And yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Hopefully that was insightful, and thanks for joining me today. And I will see you again soon. Take care.